Well, hello there, I'm Ironiq, and in this video I will be spending another 100 days in Minecraft Pixelmon. But this time, there's a twist. This time I can only catch shinies. But lucky for us, the starter that we choose will also be shiny. There are a few main goals I want to accomplish in these 100 days. First of all, I want to get a full team of shinies. And second of all, I want one of those shinies to be a legendary. And last but not least, I want to build an amazing castle and the biggest apricorn farm you have ever seen. Now, we have a lot to do, so let's get straight into the 100 days. But before the video starts, make sure to go like and subscribe because 90% of you are not subscribed. Day 1 began by me choosing my starter, and I had to think about this one because I wanted to pick the coolest shiny there was. So, of course, I had to go with Charmander. I then began collecting some wood. While doing so, I found a blue apricorn, which will be very useful later on. After running around for a little, I began battling some Magikarp for fish and to level up Charmander. I battled lots of Magikarp and continued on my way. While running around, I found a black apricorn and a red apricorn, which is very, very nice. I then made myself a pickaxe, collected some cobblestone and some coal, and used it to make a furnace to smelt my fish. Day 2, I continued running around looking for a village and a place to build my base. After lots of running, I was able to find a village with 2 Poke Centers. I healed up Charmander and began exploring the village. Luckily, this village also had a blacksmith, and the chest had some pretty good things in it, such as an iron pick and 2 iron hammers. I planted all my apricorns nearby so they could begin growing. I made myself an iron axe and went to sleep. Day 3 began by me collecting some wood. I then went and ransacked the village, stealing some books and a lot of their food. I also battled a few wild Pokemon to get Charmander some more XP. I went back to collecting more wood until the sun went down. Since I didn't have to worry about mob spawning, I began building my base at night. Day 4 began with me continuing to build my base. After doing some building, it looked like a 4-year-old built it. But hey, we're gonna make this thing look sick, trust me. The rest of the day was pretty boring as I just collected lots of wood and went mining. Obviously, while mining, I collected lots of coal, iron, bauxite, sapphire, and some redstone. Day 5, I smelted all the ores I collected. And I'll be honest, that's literally all I did this day. Day 6, I ran into a very cool looking onyx. I'm told this is a very rare crystal onyx, but I don't really know. But the thing that sucks is it's not shiny, so we can't catch it, which is unfortunate. Since I was upset about not being able to catch it, I took it out on the wood for the rest of the day and I collected lots of it. Day 7, I continued working on my base, finishing off the roof. Day 8, I'll be honest, I didn't really do very much. I battled a few times with Charmander to give him some XP and put a door on the base. So yeah, we made a lot of progress on day 8, I'd say. Day 9, I made a bunch of iron pickaxes and went mining. Of course, while mining, I collected lots of coal, iron, sapphire, redstone, and some gold. Day 10 was much of the same as I continued mining. I did end up falling into some lava and dying, which was very unfortunate, but thank goodness we aren't playing on hardcore, because that would have been bad. Day 11, I continued strip mining, collecting lots of ores. I also made a bunch more furnaces and began smelting all the ores I collected the past few days. Day 12, I battled lots of wild Pokemon to level up Charmander. After lots and lots of battles, he began evolving into Charmeleon. Oh, and I also nicknamed him Chard because of his final evolution. If you don't know the shiny version of Charizard, well, the nickname will make sense once we get there. I continued battling him for the rest of the day, getting him lots of XP. Day 13, I went back to strip mining with the goal to get some diamonds. And luckily this time, I was able to find some. And I even found some more. And even more on day 14. I then continued mining for the rest of the day, as always gathering lots of ores. I arrived back home on day 15, where I once again began smelting all the ores I collected. I continued making my apricorn farm even bigger. I then made a bunch of iron shovels and began collecting lots of dirt. Day 16, I used the dirt I collected to fill the big hole that was in front of my base. I used all the cobblestone I got from strip mining and began making some stone brick stairs. While doing so, a Entei spawned. Yes, an Entei. I found it, and unfortunately, it wasn't shiny. But it's still pretty cool. For the rest of the day, I worked on the staircase, which I did finish, but I didn't like it, so I began moving it. Day 17 was much of the same as I continued building the staircase up to the base. Yet again, while doing so, yet another Entei spawned. Yes, another one. And yet again, it wasn't shiny, so we obviously couldn't catch it. Day 18 began by me collecting lots of wood and using that wood to continue building the staircase. I then went back and got even more wood and continued to build the staircase more. I ran out once again, got more wood, and then finished off the staircase. Day 19, I began marking out the first tower of the castle. I also battled a few wild Pokemon to get charged some more XP. Day 20 yet again began by me collecting lots of wood. And yet again, I did that for the entire day. Day 21, I began building the walls of the castle. I also began laying out more towers of the base. Day 22, I continued working on the base, building up the walls and the towers. And by the end of the day, the base was looking much, much better. But obviously, there was still a lot more to do. Day 23, I finally put my apricorn farm to use. I used some iron to make an anvil and began hammering Pokeball lids and Pokeball bases. After doing this for the entire day, I was finally able to make the Pokeballs. Day 24 began by me continuing to build the base. And after I did a decent amount of work, I ran out of wood yet again. Because this base be taking a lot of oak wood. And I mean a lot of it. So for the rest of the day, I gathered wood. For the next many days, all I did was work on building the base. Building up the towers, building up the walls, gathering lots more wood, multiple times, many times, and even more times, and kept on building up the base. On day 33, I decided to take a break from base building and go mining. I mined for the entire day. Day 34, I went back to building the base. Day 35 was much of the same as I just continued building the base until I was running around the base and found something insane. I ran into my first shiny encounter and it was a Meowth. And as you can tell, I was pretty hyped. Thankfully, I had those Pokeballs I made earlier and was able to catch it. 2 shinies down, 4 more to go. And let's just say the shiny Meowth looked pretty dang cool. Day 36, I yet again gathered a bunch of wood. Day 37, I battled a lot of wild Pokemon with Charmeleon to give him some XP. I did the same thing on day 38, and again, the same thing on day 39. Until day 40, where Charmeleon, also known as Chard, began evolving into the beast himself, Charizard. So if you didn't know Charizard's final evolution as a shiny, you now get why I call him Chard. Now that he was fully evolved, I could actually fly on him, so that's pretty cool. Day 41, I began building the roofs of the towers. And by day 43, the first tower was done, and I'd say it looked pretty good. Day 44, I continued building up the roof of the towers. Day 45 was much of the same as I just continued building until yet another Entei spawned. This was like the 5th one, kind of getting annoying at this point because I can't catch them. But that was until I went to look at it because this Entei was shiny, which meant we could catch it. The only problem was we had to try to catch it using Pokeballs and Chard, which isn't very high level. So this was going to be very, very difficult. And I tried many times with Chard, trying to get his health lower, but every time he would wipe out my team because it's only Chard and Meowth. So I resorted to just throwing Pokeballs at him, and I know this was very unlikely to work, but I had no other option, okay? I ended up throwing all my Pokeballs at him, and I obviously didn't catch him. It was a very low chance, but I mean, I had to try, right? Day 46, I sadly gave up on Entei because there was no shot I was catching it, and I was also out of Pokeballs, and I went back to building the roofs of the towers. After lots and lots of building, on day 47, all but one tower was done. Day 48, I began hammering all my aluminum. I then finished off the final tower and went back to hammering, but this time I was hammering a bunch of Ultra Ball lids. Once I was done with that, I began hammering all the iron bases. And with all that, I was able to make some Ultra Balls. These definitely would have helped earlier with the Entei. Yeah, I probably should have made those way earlier. I also made myself a healer so I could put it in the base. Day 49, I gathered a lot of wood yet again, but this time to make a storage room, which is exactly what I built on day 50. And for some reason, I decided to go AFK. I don't really remember why, but I sat there until it was night, where I then began running to my bed to go to sleep. But on the way, I found something pretty dang cool, a shiny Riolu. And Lucario is one of my favorite Pokemon, so I was very excited. With the help of those Ultra Balls I made, I was able to catch it. And just like that, we had 3 out of the 6 Pokemon to fill our party. Day 51, I began moving everything in my little temporary area into the chest room. Day 52, I began making a bunch of bookshelves and placed them in one of the towers. Day 53, I went down in the mines and began collecting obsidian. And with that obsidian, I made myself an enchant table. I then placed that enchant table in the tower. Day 54, I continued working on the inside of the base around the chest room, adding more furnaces. Day 55, I began sorting all my items. This was going to be very helpful because previously all my stuff was just thrown in one chest, so yeah. And by day 56, everything was sorted. I then set out on a journey to find a swamp. The reason being is I needed some slime balls for the next project. And thankfully, I quickly found one. I spent the entire day battling Pokemon and collecting slime balls. It began turning night and I had enough slime balls where I was ready to head home. But right before I was about to leave, I ran into another shiny, a shiny Psyduck. Thankfully, I brought my Ultra Balls and was able to catch it. And I will say, shiny Psyduck looks pretty cool. Day 58, I began heading back home. I arrived home and began mining. Day 59 began by me using the slime balls to make some mechanical anvils. I then began collecting lots of dirt. Day 59, I began mining out an area where the apricorn farm will be. In day 60, I began placing all the dirt for the farm. Day 61 began by me cutting down trees. I then used the logs I gathered to start marking out the area of the farm. Day 62, I continued building up the walls of the farm, and by the end of the day, I was finally able to start planting all my apricorns. Day 62 was much of the same as I just continued planting all my apricorns. Day 63, I decided to take a break and went mining. I mined until day 64. I then battled a few wild Pokemon with Chard to get him a few more levels. Day 65, I continued working on the apricorn farm. I did this for the next many days until day 70, where the biggest apricorn farm you have ever seen was finished. In day 71, I began smelting all the apricorns I gathered. Day 72, I used all the apricorns I gathered and smelted and began making a ton of Pokeballs. Day 73, with the help of my mechanical anvils and a diamond hammer I enchanted, I began hammering all the iron bases and the Pokeball lids. And by day 75, I was able to make myself a ton of Pokeballs. And I mean a ton. Just look at all these Pokeballs I was able to make. That's a lot. So I think we'll be good for like the next 1,000 days. Day 76, I finally decided to take on the gym in the village. And it was very easy because most of their Pokemon were very low level. But I did end up getting the Iceberg Gym Badge and a TM, so that's pretty cool. I then set out on a mission to go find another shiny. But on the way, I ran into a village with another gym, so I had to take it on. Like the last gym, their Pokemon were pretty low level, so it was pretty easy to defeat. And for beating it, I got yet another gym badge and another TM. Day 78, I continued on my way trying to find a shiny. On the way, I found yet another village with another gym. But before I was able to battle it, a Virizion spawned, so I went to go look for it, just in case for the rare chance it was shiny. And I did end up finding it. Unfortunately, it wasn't shiny, so I couldn't catch it. But it was cool to find another legendary besides Entei. Day 79, I found a snowy biome, so I decided to take this time and train up Charizard. Day 80, I arrived at a village and decided to start training up Riolu. Day 81, I continued training up my Pokemon. And while I was in a battle, I noticed something. That Wooloo back there did not look normal, which makes me sound kind of racist, but I don't know how else to say it. Wooloos are normally white, and this one's black, which isn't normal because it's usually white. And now I'm canceled, so... But that did mean it was shiny, so obviously I was able to catch it, and I did just that. We now had 5 out of the 6 Pokemon for our team. And for the next many days, all I did was train my team. Until day 86, where Psyduck began evolving into Golduck. So that's pretty cool. Then yet again, I went back to training up my team. And I'll be honest, I was mostly trying to train up Riolu, because one of my favorite Pokemon is Lucario. But in order to evolve Riolu, you have to build up his friendship a lot. So I had to keep taking him on walks, and I tried to feed him a few berries to also level up his friendship. And it was taking too long, so I decided to give up, for now at least. But in good news, on day 93, Meowth began evolving into Persian. And I'm not gonna lie, Persian's shiny isn't one of the best. I then yet again went back to training. And on day 96, my Wooloo began evolving into Double. And in my opinion, a much better looking shiny than Persian. I then kept running around my base trying to find one more shiny because I was quickly running out of time. But thankfully on day 99, I found this, a shiny Geodude, right next to my base too. And this may be the coolest shiny we have found. I mean, look at this thing. That's pretty dang cool. Of course, we were able to catch it, and just like that, we had a full team of shinies with 1 day to spare. I then trained for the rest of the day, and just like that, it was day 100. We did it. We played a total of 100 days of Pixelmon, only catching shinies. This was a very difficult challenge, but I did it. I got a full team of shinies, and I may have missed out on a legendary shiny, which was very unfortunate. Let me know how you guys think I did in the comments below, and tell me which shiny I caught is your favorite, and what you want to see in the next 100 days. But I will tell you, I have some big plans for this world, and that's all I'm gonna say. But I hope you guys did enjoy. Like and subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.